Welcome to this speed learning session. My name is Tessa. I am here representing the Women's Forum for the Economy and Society. And today's speed learning session, we'll be meeting with two inspiring female founders and learning all about their experiences of setting up their own businesses. So during our online community events, we aim to address the key issues that our network wishes to discuss and to learn more about by bringing together our network of experts and industry leaders. And when it comes to entrepreneurship, we're particularly aware that women will often face a lot of gender-specific financial obstacles, among others, in establishing a business where prejudice or discriminatory practices or even legal restrictions in certain areas of the world may limit their access to crucial networks, investments, and markets that early stage projects obviously really need to get started. According to the Women's Forum Barometer, at the current rate of progress, women will not be involved in 50% of the ideas patented by the 5 major IP offices until 2080. So we've got a lot of progress to make. This is why the Women's Forum believes it's crucial to support women's entrepreneurship and to break down some of these barriers. In that spirit, we'd like to highlight these two wonderful profiles and to discuss a little more about their experiences as women entrepreneurs. So let's kick off the session by involving you, the audience. We'd like you to respond to the following poll, which should be appearing on your screens. And the question is, have you ever thought about or wanted to set up your own business? So there's a multiple choice answer. And if you'd like to select between the following options. Yes, absolutely. Sometimes, or it's not for me. Just give you all a few moments to respond to that. Okay. Great. So for this question, it seems we've got about 50%. So some people, I would imagine as well, those choosing to join us for this session might have considered setting up their own business in the past. And for some people, it's an occasional thought. We've got a second poll question that I'd like to ask the audience members. So did one of these following options stop you from establishing your own business? One, a lack of financial resources. Second, perhaps a fear of failure. And thirdly, a lack of confidence. We'll just wait for those answers to roll in for a few seconds. Okay, so we've got an interesting split here. It seems 40% is between a lack of financial resources and a lack of confidence. And then we have a 20% of you have experienced a fear of failure when considering pursuing your own business. So that's interesting. And those are some of the things that the themes that we're going to be touching on during this session. So getting stuck into the session. Welcome, Anna. Welcome, Saba. We have Anna Valle, who, alongside building brands for giants like Reckitt, Ben Kaiser, Danone, and Diageo, Anna has founded her beauty brand, Seeds of Colour. And so welcome, Anna. Anna is also an alumni of our initiative at the Women's Forum, which is called Women Entrepreneurs for Good, which we'll be explaining a little bit more about. And its initiative that supports women entrepreneurs. Welcome also to Saba Alvi, who is the founder and CEO of Fix That Shirt. And Fix That Shirt is a fashion tech startup from Paris. She's got more than 10 years of international experience as well in the fashion and luxury business development business. Saba has been a part of both corporates and the startup world, and she's passionate about social entrepreneurship and advocating for women in entrepreneurship. So welcome, Saba. Saba is also an alumni of our initiative, Women Entrepreneurs for Good. So we'll be speaking a bit more about that later. But to kick things off with our first question to Anna, we'd like to know a little bit more about your founding story, if you can share that with our audience, and why did you choose to set up your business?
Yeah, no, thanks. As I'm delighted to be here alongside Saba, and I think it's nice to say that we're both alum of the Women Entrepreneurs for Good, as you said, and it's an amazing program. So I hope we have an opportunity to talk more about that also. So I think for me, as you mentioned in my intro, I've worked for like big corporate before. I think like most of you, and we saw the results on the poll, I thought about, having my own business. I was not obsessed with the idea, but I've thought about it. And I think, we're gonna talk about the lack of resources and the lack of confidence being something that holds us up. But I feel like if you have an interesting idea that talks to your heart and that you feel like, you need to you need to kind of, make it happen, you will find the strength to do it. So I was born in Rio de Janeiro. It's a city that is blessed by nature. There's a lake, mountains, the sea. So for me, feeling connected with nature and protecting nature it's always been something really important. And I think this is why I ended up kind of founding a sustainable beauty business. So it's all about understanding nature's beauty and connecting nature's beauty with ours, and going to nature to find ingredients, to find materials, to find a sustainable way of building businesses and building products. So marrying that with the fact that, I found my co-founder is a brilliant scientist and really understands sustainable science. I think it was the kind of marriage of the best worlds, and having, a scientific backed business is something really, really important. So as I mentioned, I come from corporate. I understand how big legacy business have a difficulty to transform, have a difficulty to kind of move into a more sustainable place. When you start from scratch, you can design your business to be restorative, to be sustainable. You can have, your priorities and your purpose set in a positive way, where for us, it's all about planet, people, and profit. And every time we take a decision, we look at those 3 Ps and we make sure that we're taking a decision that will give us profit, but also will be good for the planet and good for the people. I think entrepreneurs it's always about finding a problem, a gap, a need, something that is missing in the market, and being passionate about delivering it, about solving this problem, about, bringing a positive solution to it. And I think when you have that call, you should, it'll be easier to overcome the difficulties, and, and it's your passion, it's your purpose. So it will make you really kind of, follow the call to find to found the business, to start it, and to take it forward. So I think that's what happened.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Anna. And as you say, it's important to recognize these boundaries that we can come across going into entrepreneurship, but it's doable, and it's a question of finding your own niche and leaning into those passions. Thank you, Anna. Saba, I'm going to ask you the same question, which is just to tell us a little bit about your founding story and why you chose to set up your business.
Sure. Thanks, Tessa, and thanks, Anna, for sharing your beautiful journey with Seeds of Color. Now, about Fix That Shirt. Well, basically, before starting about Fix That Shirt, a little bit about me. I am originally from India. The startup is based in Paris. So how did it come to happen? I came to France to pursue my master's, and a part of my master thesis was to identify how can we use technology, especially artificial intelligence, to make the fashion and luxury industry more sustainable, and make it a more circular economy, drive it towards that model. So as one thing led to another, I finished my thesis. Soon after, there was the COVID breakout. And during the first lockdown in Paris, as it happened to be, there was a huge shortage of face masks. Now, at the same time, there were people who were creating some masks for hospitals and places for institutions, but still general public, they did not have any masks. And what happened, what came to my notice was, this was the moment I noticed on Amazon and Etsy, people were selling masks, which were 20 euro a mask, 25 euros a mask, which I think it's a bit pricey. And at the same time, morally speaking, it did not seem right to monetize on distress. So, at that time, it is during confinement, so we cannot meet, we cannot rent an atelier or whatnot. So what I did was basically create an online portal called fixthatshirt.com. So I don't come from a tech background, so I spent 2 blank nights. I taught myself WordPress, and it was nothing too beautiful, but a basic site called fixthatshirt.com. And why Fix That Shirt? The idea behind it was if anybody who needs mask and could bring an old cotton shirt or a bed sheet, whatever, we will create upcycled masks from it and send it to them. They could be based anywhere. At the same time, anybody, no matter who, even if they don't need masks, if they want to donate the material, that would be great. And if somebody is equally motivated like us and wants to donate their time, they could donate their time in creating those. So we ran this project for a month under the headlines of Make Masks, Save Lives. We created more than 3,000 masks. We did not sell any of these. We just sent it out across France in the remotest of areas. And we also donated per shirt. We would take out 1 mask, which would always go to Secure Populaire. And thankfully, at the end of the month, the problem was solved. Of course, there was like 1 billion masks that entered the French market. But then what do we do now? The problem is solved. We are making masks. We should not exist anymore. But that's a big lesson that we took, that we should not be in love with the solution, but with the problem itself. Since we were making masks, the problem was over. But what we learned during this journey was people have clothes in their wardrobe, which for some reason they are not donating, or they're just keeping it. Maybe there is a tear that needs repair. Maybe they would be happy to upcycle it. They don't have time to go to the tailor. And based on all this, we invested another year into the learnings, and we created a mobile app by the same name called Fix That Shirt, where now people could use existing garments in their wardrobe. And thanks to the app, they could now have retouching, altering, or upcycling services. And then the story just continues. We grew the business, we pivot. Today we are B2B. B2C is a much smaller focus of the business. But yeah, that's basically the story of starting Fix That Shirt. And why are we called Fix That Shirt? We are not just fixing shirts. It's anything and everything that goes in your fashion wardrobe.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing your founding story, Saba. That's a great example of turning your passion and a good eye for solutions into a business and being extremely adaptable in the process. So I'm going to move on to the second question, which is I'm going to direct it at you first, Anna. What do you enjoy most about being an entrepreneur? What do you think? What do you feel it brings to you in your life, professionally and otherwise?
Yeah, I think there are kind of 2 dimensions to the question. I think professionally, the opportunity to transform the industry is really something amazing. You just feel like, oh my God, I'm pinching myself. This is not true. So I think we play in the beauty industry. It's a huge industry. We're talking about 230 billion globally. And it's an industry that is making a big effort to become more sustainable, but it's still is not making a positive impact. You know, if you think about waste, pollution, supply chain, sourcing, all the manufacturing processes, the way, you know, the industry has moved into synthetic ingredients instead of naturals. So having the opportunity to transform it and, you know, to bring back natural ingredients, you know, like Saba, we do upcycling. So we take what is left from fruits and vegetables, crops, and mandarin peels or blackcurrant pulps, and we use that to create, you know, ingredients that will go into skincare, into makeup, and this whole idea of, you know, circularity, avoiding waste, avoiding pollution, doing things in a better way is really gratifying. Is something that is, you know, doesn't have a price. So building a business that you can make it in an ethical way, that is vegan, cruelty-free, that is part of the B Corp movement, that is supporting women entrepreneurship. So we have women in the lab, so we promote women in science, which is something quite novel, and you know, like, and it's really important. So I think that's this aspect that keeps us going, and that gives us a lot of gratification in a sense. And then there's the human connections. I feel like when you're leading your own business, you interact with so many people, and you have a chance to touch, you know, communities. We only partner with local business, with indie brands. So we try to do the best we can to kind of lift everybody that is kind of together with us. So building a business that is committed to, you know, of course, grow fast, but looking at people, planet, and profit at the same time is really important. So working with, you know, the agricultural produce here it's incredible to think, but in the UK there are some beetroot farmers, and you know, they have a lot of excess from their crops, and we get it and we use it. So it's really interesting you go from talking to, you know, people that are working in agriculture to, you know, CEOs of other companies, or, you know, you join an amazing entrepreneurship program, or so it's very diverse. You build a lot of kind of human connections at, you know, at the kind of human level. And I think it's possible to have the right balance between, you know, fulfilling yourself, you know, fulfilling your growth mission, and having a business that is contributing to society. So yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, I can really hear that it's a gratifying element is being part of the solution to problems that you're seeing around you. It's and the human connections, the places it takes you along the way. Thank you very much for your answer. And Saba, I'd like to ask you the same question. What do you enjoy most about being an entrepreneur, and what do you feel that it's brought to you?
I think there are a few similar points that Anna already mentioned, but I come from a background in corporate. I've worked in different departments, different roles, different brands, and while the journey did start with a lot of enthusiasm, and you are young and you're full of the ideas to change the world and have an impact, but there is a system. At some point, you start questioning if what the marketing of the company says is truly what you're doing, and you start questioning the value system. But there is only so much you can do, even when you keep getting promoted, advance very fast. There's still only so much that you could do, which can have a real impact. So as opposed to that, entrepreneurship is personally, I think it's a place where you just don't create the values, but you are also the torchbearer who leads the way to those values, and motivate other people to join you, and you could actually stay true to what is being communicated. So this transparency, this morality is something I think which has been most attractive part of entrepreneurship. Of course, it's there are different motivations for everyone, but this is just personally speaking for me. I think that's very empowering, knowing that the efforts that you're doing, besides bringing money, it's actually gonna have an impact on the people, on the environment, and it helps you sleep better, provided if you get time to sleep being an entrepreneur. And other than that, to answer the second part of your question, what it has brought to me, well, I think a lot of things I've learned a lot. It's so dynamic. It's a 360-degree expansion. You start from, as I mentioned earlier, like I learned to make the website in 2 days. So that is the motivation and the drive. You have to do it, and you have no other option to do. How to fundraise, again, a very different fundraising, finances, very different ballgame than the legal and admin aspect, which is my least favorite. But yes, you have to develop. I think entrepreneurship has made me a jack of all trades and master of some.
That's a really brilliant answer. Thank you, Saba. Yeah, I can see the part about, I suppose, entrepreneurship offers that chance to overcome the limits somewhat of the corporate world, perhaps, and really feel that you're making a concrete difference in applying your own kind of moral compass to the way that you conduct your business. And definitely, as you say, a very quick way to develop some very great skills and a wide range of skills, as you say. So thank you both for your answer to that question. I'd like to also ask, along with these brilliant kind of self-development opportunities and amazing other opportunities that the entrepreneurship can bring, obviously along the way, as we might imagine, did you face any kind of obstacles? Perhaps we often hear, specifically maybe with women, that we tend to underestimate ourselves and our capacities, this sort of imposter syndrome. Have you ever dealt with that yourself in stepping into entrepreneurship? And what kind of other challenges you faced and how you overcome them?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think, Saba was describing a bit of like our day to day. So there's loads of challenges. And you never know what you're waking up for. So the website has a glitch, the fundraising, like you got 2 maybes, 2 no's, and you're like, oh my God. So there's a lot going on and in all sorts of different fields. So I think you have to think on your feet. And I think this is something that science and psychology talks a lot, the imposter syndrome. And it's something that we feel like it's more of a female thing. Guys are very confident. So if they need $500,000, they will ask for $1 million. They will tell a big story and they will be very confident. I think women are very careful and very kind of honest in a sense. And I think, yeah, definitely. I sometimes wake up and think, oh my God, like, am I going to be able to make it? And we saw on the poll that, 40% were saying that they don't start a business because of lack of confidence. So it is something that is kind of ingrained in us. And we have to overcome it. And I feel like in order to kind of be ready for the challenges, because we never know where they're coming from, if they're going to be more technical, more people, something with your team or something with your customers. So we need, for me, it's like going back to what I keep saying, like human connection. So make sure you have mentors. And, I've learned something about having like a 5-layer mentorship where you have somebody that works like you, somebody that works outside your business, somebody that is, completely like outside your industry, and having people that can help you in different kind of scopes of your life is something really important, because you have to share with others. And I think this is also like going into a program like Women Entrepreneurs for Good is something that, I meet Saba, I can talk to her and I say, have you faced this? Have you done that? So it's really important to exchange and to kind of check in with yourself and with others so that you don't lose your ground. So mentors, sharing, education, knowledge, experience. So, like find incubators, find programs that can help you with the gaps you might have that will give you confidence. And then there's a load of like tricks that you learn to help you when you start thinking about or doubting yourself. So, like play to your strengths. Don't feed negative thoughts, like stick to facts. Don't let your feelings kind of grow. Do something like small, like, before you get into a meeting, do a bit of power pose and put yourself as, like, oh, I'm the boss. I know how to do this. Those are small tricks that really help you visualize yourself, being a big, making a big conference and being a big success. So there's a lot of like small tricks that you can have, and you should keep that with you and go back to that list and make sure that, you're checking in with yourself. And, your overall well-being also plays an important role. So make sure that you're sleeping well, you're eating well. Yeah, I think it's tough. It's tough. It is rewarding. It is gratifying. I think it's worth doing it. But it's a roller coaster, and you have to be prepared, and you have to have your kind of support network with you. So, yeah.
Yeah. So in that sense, I suppose that there's always going to be obstacles, there's always going to be problems. But as you say, it's about creating that playing to your own strengths, positive self-talk, awareness of your own well-being, creating that kind of inner atmosphere of stability and strength, and working on that. And also the importance of mentorship, sharing experiences with others, and partaking in programs such as mentioned, the Women Entrepreneurs for Good program. Yeah, that's some interesting experience, interesting perspective. Thank you, Anna. Saba, I'd like to ask you the same question.
Yeah, just to build a bit on what you guys have already elaborated. I think it's very, very real, the imposter syndrome, and but I will not dive into it. I just talk in general, like entrepreneurship in itself, it's a double-edged sword. While you get the high of soaring and achieving, but at the same time, the fall is as high. You fall from a height, and so in itself, entrepreneurship in general is not easy. But when it comes to women, there are so many criterias and biases that exist, which of course, if you look at social media, if you look at corporate communication, it seems to be addressed, but in practice, we are still way far behind. So it is not a far-fetched idea to imagine that if you are a woman entrepreneur and you're entering a room full of, I don't know, investors, potential stakeholders, potential partners, I don't know what, it wouldn't be far-fetched to imagine if you walk in, there's gonna be a woman in a box. No. And perhaps you have to walk through 20 such rooms to maybe get somebody who says, maybe, why not? So that it comes back to the idea that Anna was saying earlier, that you need to be extremely motivated and determined not to give in, not to give up. But at the same time, if you are a woman of color, then again, it's another challenge. There are things you can't change about yourself. You can't change if you're a woman or a man. You can't change if you are a certain color. You can't change if you look too young to be doing things right, or you look too old. So these biases do exist, and unfortunately they exist a little too much when it comes to a woman. So having said that, I don't want to be sounding too depressive, and I don't want to be demotivating. This exists. This is the reality at the moment, but we are trying to change it. We are, Anna, me, other entrepreneurs, we are working towards it. Potentially it would change one day, but till we arrive over there, it is a collective responsibility to not to give in, to keep going, and to, as she said, if we need 500,000, ask for 1 million, ask for 2. You are doing something. You're already a step ahead of anybody else who just thought and did not advance. So that's basically what I want to say on this topic.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that response. I think both of you have really highlighted the importance of resilience in entrepreneurship, then specifically when it comes to women, as you say, these intersecting sort of factors that drive bias and results in different obstacles for women. I think you've both highlighted the importance of resilience in the face of these issues. So thank you for that. So we have a final question, which is what advice do you have for aspiring entrepreneurs? What pieces of advice would you offer to people thinking they'd really love to set up their own business, but they might be hesitating on different factors, and to kind of remove the roadblocks? So Anna, I'd like to ask you to go ahead with that one first.
I think the first thing is like, be courageous, like have it in your heart. If you really believe on what you're doing, take the risks, learn from your failures. It's not a straightforward journey. It's a kind of up and down, as Saba was saying. So, it's not a straight line. So be courageous. Think of entrepreneurship as a series of leadership moments where you have the opportunity to make a positive impact. So every little choice, every little decision that you make, you have that opportunity. You are in charge, and you can choose the right thing. So put your whole self into it. I think when we talk entrepreneurship, the first question you asked us was, what is your founder story? So it's very personal. It's something that talks to ourselves, and it's very authentic. It needs to be something that is part of you, is something that you believe, and something that you live. It's not, like a bureaucratic type of job where you go 9 to 5 and you don't think about it, once you left the office. So it's something that you carry with you. And this is why it's important to know yourself, know your values, because your business will be a reflection of that. And it will reflect all your passions, your aspirations, and be aware of the impact you have in others. Be aware of the, how transformative what you do can be, and be independent. And I think we talked about, having the confidence to kind of believe in yourself and in what you're doing, because sometimes what we're doing is new and different, like we're pioneering. Saba didn't think she was going to be doing, masks during the pandemic, and nobody else was doing it at that point. So, if you're pioneering, there's nobody you can look, and beside you and say, oh yeah, she's doing the same, I'm going to copy, or I'm going to learn from her. No, you're ahead of the game. You're alone. So, if you're paving the way, just stick to it. Just, keep your independence, keep your strength, and yeah, your purpose and your passion will drive you. And it will be rewarding. It will be gratifying at the end.
Absolutely. I think that level of investment of yourself into such a kind of passion of yours, and the courage, once you build that courage and you become, as you say, you take a position of leadership every day in the face of these various obstacles, I'm sure it's extremely gratifying. Saba, what would you speak to that?
Yeah, I think everything that came from Anna were excellent advices to just start rolling with the idea and actually materializing it. I'll talk a little bit on the practical front, which I think I would have really appreciated when I started the business, to have those advices. Number one thing that I would say is try to get co-founders as early as possible, and try to have a criteria to get a co-founder where they are complementing what you don't have. It may be a hard skill, like if you're a business person, get somebody from tech. If you are a tech person, get business finance, but try to complement those skill set, hard skill as well as your soft skills. If you are somebody who could implement things but cannot express it well, have somebody in the core founding team who could actually speak to investors and communicate, or the partners, because it changes everything. Entrepreneurship is not easy, so having co-founders early on, it actually helps you not to stretch yourself too thin, too fast, and burn out. the more you share the load and you construct together, the farther you'll go, the longer you'll last. Other than that, I think everybody would have heard it everywhere, but it is so true. Network is everything. If you're someone who's an introvert, the world is not over. It's a skill that could be learned to network, but learn it. It's super, super important. That's how, especially if you're a woman, that's how it's highly likely you might not have connections. So it's important to go through programs like Women Entrepreneur for Good. It really helped us a lot. And, whatever is suiting your niche where your business operates, and try to network, build connections, talk about challenges, not just opportunities, because you could learn from what others going through and, take those learning in. There is no handbook for this is how to be successful at startup. No matter how much you read, it's always a new journey, a new experience. And lastly, just to sum up what they have already shared, is you have to start. Don't overthink it. Just as a lot of time men do not spend so much time perfecting a model, they launch it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't need to be beautiful. It doesn't need to have all of the functionalities. Go start with the MVP, let it be there, collect feedback, and just repeat the loop. And I wish you all the best, and I hope all these collective advices help you go away far and beyond.
That's some really brilliant advice there. Thank you, Saba. So we've got finding co-founders early that have complementary skills, the importance of building networks, to share experiences, and to not overthink quite as much as we might initially be tempted to do, and just to kind of get started and take that leap. Thank you so much to you both for answering those questions so wonderfully. I'm gonna now we'll be moving on to a Q&A in a few minutes. So if participants, if you have any questions for Saba and Anna, please post them in the chat. And I wanted to take, while we're waiting for those questions, I wanted to kind of take a moment to just give a bit more information about this initiative that we've been speaking about from the Women's Forum, which is called the Women Entrepreneurs for Good initiative. And it's was created in an effort to support women's entrepreneurship and provide solutions to these barriers that we've been discussing today. It's in partnership with HEC Paris, Bank of America, and Bourdin Pratt. It's a global initiative. We're very proud to have just launched the 4th edition. So applications have just opened. We're going to be posting the link to that with more information on our website in the chat. And it's, as I say, it's a global accelerator program which supports and grows women's sustainable entrepreneurship. And during the program, selected projects benefit from 7 months of incubation, mentorship, coaching, and visibility opportunities with our global partners. You can apply from anywhere in the world if you have access to the internet to participate in this program. The other conditions to apply are that your project generates around 20,000 euros or less. You tackle one or more sustainable development goal, and that you're female led. So that means that you have at least kind of one female founder. Of course, male teammates are more than welcome. So the call to applications, as I mentioned, is open. The link should be appearing in the chat, and they'll be closing on the 3rd of May. So please go ahead and apply for that initiative, or contact us with any questions. But I suppose just with a few minutes left, if Saba and Anna as well, maybe you wanted to just say a word about your time during the program, and why you would encourage people to apply to that program.
Sure, I can take that up. So as I mentioned briefly, it did provide us with great network. That's how I know Anna, and even outside the program, because we were meeting like-minded individuals, women facing similar challenges, coming together with a similar objective to have an impact, to who are aligned to one or the other sustainable development goals. So it was much simpler to build that connection, and it's already been a few years, but we have kept in touch, learning from each other's problems, also trying to collaborate if it's possible to collaborate in terms of our products or services. Other than that, the acceleration program is pretty helpful as well. Those who are based in Paris, or even if you are joining the virtual program, it's very helpful. You have access to a lot of mentors, and which are industry experts and can guide you, help you. You could measure your OKRs, and you have the possibility to learn a lot. And yeah, other than that, it's really empowering to when you collectively come together towards the end of the year for the global meeting and everybody pitches their project. It's something to be a part of.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anna, go ahead.
No, I definitely share Saba's perspective. It's a great program. I really recommend. I think, she mentioned already, but I'm going to repeat. It's about, the connections you make. It's about the empowerment, that you get by being surrounded by like-minded people. I think there's a big part on like education and knowledge. You get a lot of real knowledge from the partners that are, like in the program. I think, being part of the kind of HEC Station F environment is something that is a unique experience. And then, at the end, being an alum and being part of the Women's Forum is just, amazing. So I would recommend. I feel very passionate about it, and I feel like this is why we're here advocating for it. So it's a cause that is close to our hearts. We're both female entrepreneurs. I'm an immigrant, so it's really important to have the right supporting network to kind of take us forwards and keep us going. So yeah, I'm grateful for the experience, and I recommend it. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, so as I say, the applications are open now, and they close on the 3rd of May. So head to the link that's just been posted in the chat. We haven't received any questions, which means that you've done such a thorough job of answering the questions that I asked you today. Everybody knows what they need to know about setting up their own business. Thank you so much for your time, and for answering those questions, and for being such a kind of inspiration in this field. It's such a brave thing to do. And it's been very interesting to learn about your experiences. Thank you also to everybody who joined. This recording will be available on our website, so you can share it, rewatch it. And yes, thank you all so much for joining us today. We've reached the end of our speed learning. And yes, wishing you all the best. Thank you so much again, Saba and Anna.
Well, thank you so much for having us. A real pleasure for us. And if people could benefit from what we failed at or what we succeeded at, we are always here to help. And thank you once again.
Yeah, thank you. Same thing, like delighted with the opportunity and happy to help. You can reach out to us on LinkedIn, and yeah, most probably we'll be there in November to see the presentation. So
See you there. Thank you.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks to everyone joining as well. Bye-bye.